Y'all check this out.
Number one, I'm 31, so I have no interest in a man who is trying to keep up with these young boys. No, do your own thing. Number two, financially literate. I'm not saving nobody. If you are drowning in debt, if you can't pay your bills, it's not my thing. Like I said, I'm independent. I got my own thing going on. My money good over here. Don't try to use my money to make our money. No. Number three, disciplined. If you don't know you, someone will use you against you. So know yourself, be disciplined. Number four, health and wellness literate. I want us to live a long time together, and we can't do that if you smoking, drinking, and eating unhealthy food all day. Comprehensive. Everybody listening, but nobody is comprehending what the thesis is.
I have so many thoughts about what he just said. Okay. What are we looking for and how badly do we want it? Tonight, we're unpacking the dating criteria and how do we find men who have it. Tonight on Dear Black Gay Men podcast, and the show starts right now. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG. It's Wednesday, so it's time for a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men podcast. It's still our short, bullshit free step out of our comfort zone to talk about how dope it is to be black gay men who love black. I said that wrong. Talk about the ups and downs along our journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is your midweek reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men who love black gay men. Earlier this year, I dated someone for 6 months. I told my best friend about him after 3 months. He'd met my siblings after 5. And on the face, it looked like things were progressing. The quiet truth is that he had dumped me twice. And I was too insecure to leave it alone when everyone around me told me he wasn't the one. What I know about myself and so many others is that we, black gay men, want to be in love. We want our person, but so many of us eligible bachelors are still in the dating pool. So tonight, I want us to really ask ourselves, is it me or is it niggas that's the problem? As always, if you've got an opinion on the topic, which I hope you do, you can join us live on the show to go to livestream.dearblackgaymen.com. The link is pinned in the comments, or you can join me anytime throughout the show, and you don't have to show your face. This is not a no pick, no chat situation right here on the podcast. But first, it's time for church announcements. Hit it. Every week, I write about the ups and downs of my dating journey on our blog on Substack. It's a deep dive into my emotional and sexual trials as I manifest my man in 2025. You can join for free by clicking the screen now, or the link is in the description. Let me just tap in real quick because I got a lot of comments on the last one. First comment that I got was, "Hey Jay, why we ain't have a show on Tuesday?" That came in a whole bunch of times. But what I tell you, yesterday was my mommy's birthday. Well, we celebrated my mom's birthday. Monday was my mom's birthday, and mine is next week. But I needed to be present because it's my mommy. My mommy is important to me, as I hope everyone's mother is important to them. If she's not important to you, I'm going to send prayers and good energy your direction. But I am fortunate enough to still have my mother here, and so I wanted to celebrate her. That's the reason why we did not have a show yesterday. But the second thing is, yes, the man that I wrote about has read this. Everybody is asking me, has he read it? Yes, he's read it. He's read it. He's commented on it. We text about it. He has talked to me about it. He actually appreciated my perspective, which is good because if he didn't, I would have took it down and I would not have let y'all see it. But yes, he has read it. Couple comments. Rolando says a Virgo mother and child. Yes, a Virgo mother with 2 Virgo children. I have my baby brother's birthday is 2 days after mine. So there's that. Whole bunch of Virgo in the house. Everybody think they know every fucking thing. But that's that. The second thing is, the second piece of that is I'm drinking tonight. So tonight's show is gonna be all the way live. Hey everybody in the chat. I will get to the comments in just a second, but I am drinking tonight. So who knows where this conversation is gonna go? Hopefully it'll go in a good place. The only what do you need from relationships? The only difference that I have found between single and taken is how much we want someone. By our 30s, most Black gay men have overcome so many adversities that finding a man should be a piece of cake. We found our way out of the closet. We found our sense of self in a world that tells us that we should be anything but ourselves. We found careers and friend circles. We found vacations and passports and so many other things. After finding all of that, the only thing stopping us from finding a man is three questions. Number one, what do I want? Wants are usually the stuff that we dream about. I've been thinking about the things that I want Tevin Campbell. I've been dreaming about him since Can We Talk. Usually, we nor the other person can change these things. Like, I want a man that's a top or 6 feet tall, has pretty eyes or curly hair. He won't change his sexual position, and he can't change his height, eye color, and hair texture for you. But it'd be nice to have. Number two, what do I need? Needs explain how a potential mate will treat himself or how he will treat me. Like, I need a man who is financially stable, how he treats himself. Or I need a man who's emotionally available, how he will treat me. Or number three, are we self aware to parse through the difference? Will the pretty boy who's tall with good teeth but a little toxic distract you from the short guy with the dad bod that calls you when he says he's going to? The girls will have a laundry list of physical traits that they want, but boil needs down to things like a crib, car, and a job. Being dateable this cuffing season, especially since the weather is changing, is all about understanding the qualities of a man that will make a relationship last and being patient enough to see ourselves through the dating phase. If you want to hear how my dating life is going since Kivante, my last ex, comment date and I'll DM you the link. Follow for more dope queer stories. The easiest way to support what we do here on Dear Black Gay Men is to become a YouTube member. Members get access to exclusive conversations, the members only chat, behind the scenes content, and you can join me to chop it up right here on the show. Remember, a portion of the proceeds from your super chats is going to an Atlanta area nonprofit providing HIV prevention and care in Black gay culture. Just hit the join button below this episode or send a super chat of any amount. For all the latest updates, follow me everywhere on socials at JAI The Gentleman. That concludes our church announcements. Please govern thyself accordingly, and we will be right back. The show got good. I thought I was spicy vanilla, but tonight I've learned I'm deep into the extremist end of the kink freak spectrum. Then it got even better. He nutted, then asked me if he could pee in me, and I was nervous. What did it feel like? But it felt good. Live from the back room every Thursday on YouTube. Welcome back to the Black Gay Man Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. Usually I come on the show and I got all the answers or a video to share. But this episode, all I got is questions because I want to know how our dating lives are going. And I need y'all to tap into the chat and you can join me on the show with a question, comment, or a concern because, you know, the girls be... We want to be getting out this dating pool. I think we really do want to get out of the dating pool. Or is it just me? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that's like trying actively to get out the dating pool? Let me know in the chat. Because if I'm the only one, I can be the drama. Y'all, I hope y'all know that by now I can be the drama. But I feel like the girls want to be in love. Let me go through some of the commercial, some of the comments. You can see my liquor creeping up on me by already. Here we go. Hey Kevy, hey Winter Menace, hey Kevy Kev. Rolando DD said Virgo mother and child. Yes. And when I tell you, so let me tell y'all about having a Virgo mama. Virgo moms are hard when you're little and they're so easy when you're older, especially as a Virgo, because I couldn't get away with nothing when I was little because my mother picked up on patterns way too well. And so the second that I say something that didn't sound right, she would look at me and she'd be like, you don't say. And my mother would never be the type to she wouldn't fly off the handle. She would not yell at you. She wouldn't be that person. She would be the one that be like, and she'll wait until you think that you've gotten away with it before, as she puts two and two together. And then she'll hit you with the Jared. That's my name. Jared, come here. thinking I'm done got away with something. And she'd be like, come here. Now, you remember when you said this and then this? So explain this. That was 99% of the whoopings I got when I was little. You said A and then you said B, but explain C right here. That was my childhood wrapped up in 3 sentences. Rolando DD said, love to hear it. Miss J's mom, Team Virgo. We are my sister, my brother, and I are inside 31 days. My sister is 28 days before me. If her birthday's on a Wednesday, mine is exactly 4 weeks later. And then my brother's 2 days after that, and my mom is right in the middle. August 21, Leo, September 8, Virgo, September 18, Virgo, September 20, Virgo. Panther said Jay is lit. Jay is lit today because I needed a cocktail. Today has been a day, but it's been a good day. I've been looking forward to getting to y'all. Winter Minute says my mom was a Taurus. J926 says my dad is a Virgo and I took him out to dinner yesterday for his birthday with my stepmom. Hey dad, was yesterday his birthday? 9/9. It's a good birthday. Jay is drinking watermelon. So my first question while I'm going through these comments, my first question for everybody in the chat is, do the girls want to be out of the dating pool? Like, not just us, not just the people, we have 62 people watching, not just us in the chat and on the show, but do we in culture want to be out of the dating pool, or do y'all think that the girls are okay being single? Let me know in the chat because I'm really curious. That is a foundational question for everything that I want to know tonight. I will tell you my story while this is happening. Just FYI for everybody about Virgo Nation, my best friend's birthday was Monday. I talk about Maquan on the show all the time. Maquan has been on the show, but Maquan's birthday was Monday. Maquan is a twin. His birthday was also Monday. Maquan has an older brother birthday 9/1 I'm close to all of them. I know all of them. And so just know we are hyper Virgo over here. But let me tell you the story. So last dude I dated, I call him Kivante on the blog, and he and I wanted this man. I met him at church, but I coveted him. I work at my church. I do media, and so I'm usually in the back of the church in the sound booth, and he would sit in the first pew right in front of us. And so as he would I'm there early, I stay late, but as he would get there, I was watching, he would walk in, and he would sit right in front of us. And I would just see how he navigated space. I loved how he interacted with the people around him. He always seemed very, very demure, very cutesy, but he was a full nigga. Like, he had these broad fucking shoulders. He had a big chest. He had a big body. He had a good belly. It was, oh my God, he had such a good belly. It was so great, right? And so I saw him for weeks, and I would just be like, damn, he's so fine. He has a good smile. He, like, everything about him was just fine to me. And so I would try to get my bearings. I would try to get my courage to go speak to him. And then eventually I would talk to him and I would say, and the best I could muster, the only courage I could muster was, I like your hair. Because he had locks and he would get them twisted regularly. I like your hair. And I was like testing the waters to see if he would respond back, because I didn't want to shoot my shot and get shot down. Because at my big age, I still have, I'm still scared of rejection. So that's all I would do. And so we would do that, and he'd be like, thank you. And then one day, watch night. It is going from 2024 into 2025. We are in the church. And he says, watch night is over. We ring in the new year. And he says, you make sure you take all this body home. Oh, okay. You peeping how much body I got. My body yaddy yaddy is body yaddy yaddy ain't enough for you to say something. So I was like, okay, got it. The next Sunday I asked him out on a date. And then the following Monday, we actually went out. And we were a thing ever since. I really did think he was going to be the guy. I did so many things different with him. A couple of the things that I did differently, Winter Menace, I'm tapping you in here, is we did not have talk about anything sexual. We did not talk about sexual position. We didn't talk about sexual experience. We didn't talk about anything sexual for like the first 3 months. So we met in January. It wasn't until like March something before I even knew what a sexual position was. I had gotten hints because I've been to he and I had been to done a whole bunch of things. So I had gotten hints, but I didn't even know what his position was. And luckily enough, it aligned with mine. But we didn't talk about sex or sexual experience. Of course, we talk about sexuality. He gay, I'm gay, we're gay. But we didn't talk about sex or sexual experience. I didn't go into his house for the first several weeks, months. He didn't come to my house for the first several months. Everything we did was outside. We went out to eat. We went to the movies. We went to the bars. We went to the this and the that. And I think for the first time in my life, we actually dated. That didn't end up like, Netflix and chilling. And what that taught me, though, was that you can build a strong connection with somebody if you take out the sexual component. And that's why I said Winter Menace, because Winter Menace has said in the chat a couple times that he identifies as asexual. And I was like, oh, this is what that looks like. I know the untold theme of the show is sex, but we can't fuck our way into someone's heart. That's absolutely true. The untold theme of the show is gay. And I think one thing that I have come to consider, or at least or accept, is that a large part of gay culture is sex. And I think what the chat is teaching me is that it doesn't have to be. Like we ain't got to talk about fucking all the time. Which is why we're doing the show tonight. Mr. Wee said, "Child, why can I not meet a man in church? It always felt wrong." Here's the gotcha about that. We go to an affirming church. We go to a church that seeing two men together at church is commonplace. My pastor is married to a man. They have 2 children together, beautiful family. All the pastors up on the platform most of them are married. Some of them have children, some of them don't, but most of them are married. All of them are queer on some level. It is a black church. It is a Pentecostal church. Put all that together. So the idea that we go to a black, gay, black affirming Pentecostal church in Atlanta, Georgia. That's why a lot of us can't meet no man, is because and I don't want to shade anybody's church or shade anybody's church home, but a lot of us do attend these churches that they accept the vast majority of us, but not all of us. And so it's difficult to shoot your shot. It's difficult to do anything in those churches because it's a sliding scale of what do these individuals accept about me. But I'm fortunate enough that we go to a church here in Atlanta where every piece of me is accepted and affirmed. Now, they ain't gonna let me say my bullshit though. That's one thing about my church. That we gonna call you on your bullshit. Like we're not gonna do destructive things just because we're gay here. We're gonna make sure that you on the straight and narrow, but we are going to love you where you are so that you can become all that you can become. That is the beauty of my particular church. Rolando Didi said, "I never met a man in church, mostly because I've never been to a church." You've never been to a church? Never? Never? Like, not once ever, Rolando? Never. Damn. Benjamin Johnson says, I agree, Jay. I wonder what you were agreeing to, because I think I've said a whole lot of things today. But Panther says, well, I know I'm bad because the D gets to my heart then first, then their brain for me. So that's my next question. Do again, the Winter Menace has added to the chat, and I can totally see how he came to this conclusion that the unspoken truth of the show is that we talk about sex. Do we oversex each other in our culture? I think that's kind of a rhetorical question, but I'm going somewhere with it. Like, do we oversex dating? Let me know that in the chat. And again, if you want to join the chat, come on, because we're gonna be talking all hour. But do we oversex dating? Because in my head, as evolved as I am, a part of me does want to know if the sex is good so that I can date you. And I think that's kind of upside down. I think in my head, I've said sex is a lot better if I have an emotional connection, but also in the same brain, in the same head of mine, I'm saying, but I don't want to develop an emotional connection unless the sex is good. And that's my own fucked up ideology until Kivante, where I removed sex from the equation and I ended up just loving this man. I loved him. Inside 3 months, I knew I wanted this man the second I asked him for his name, but I loved him. And I think that's the unfortunate part about a lot of our stories is that we don't allow ourselves to love them unless we've had sex with them. But the irony is the sex will be amazing if we love them. Or I might be the drama. Michael McGee said that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Michael. No, it's more like I feel that's not what I should be there for. Guys have hit on me and felt inappropriate. Why did it feel inappropriate, Mr. Witty? Why did it feel inappropriate? Let me know that. I really want to double tap there. Why did it feel inappropriate for someone to flirt or hit on you? Now, if they're hitting on you in an inappropriate way, I get that. But if they're still being respectful of the house but expressing interest, why did that feel inappropriate? A couple things. Panther, holla at your boy says some people are using the test driving a car analogy. Yes, but I've test drove many lemons. I think Rolando said in response to test driving a car, they said, fuck that noise. Because the irony is, fun fact, me and Kivante were not right for each other. We just weren't. We were absolutely not right. Some things about his personality just didn't jive with mine, and some things about my personality just authentically didn't drive with his. But the gotcha is, I think by the time we got together, we were in too deep to have seen the red flags as red flags. We saw red flags as yellow. And I was so hell bent on loving him through his red flags that I couldn't see anything else. I couldn't see anything and ironically, my best friend McQuan, he told me when I get so deep into a relationship, it's hard for him to give me good counsel because he knows that my mind is already made up. So why would he waste his breath? And as much as that hurts to hear, it's absolutely true. Benjamin Johnson says, I have to be sexually compatible just as much as I need to be emotionally connected and compatible. It has to be balanced. But how do you establish that balance, friend? How do you establish that balance? And more importantly, is there any space in that perspective to allow yourself to even consider that emotional connection can yield sexual compatibility? Do you have any space to even consider that much? That you could be sexually compatible if, for instance, you led with emotional connection. I think maybe one of the problems that even I have dealt with, especially I have dealt with, is that I'm trying to establish both of these connections at the same time parallel. I'm trying to establish a sexual connection with you and an emotional connection as if they are on the same, as if they're two different highways running alongside each other, instead of allowing picking up one along the route along the other's route. Does that make sense? Like, I can pick up sex along an emotional journey, but I feel like sometimes as gay men, we are trying to figure out sex and emotions as if they are parallel instead of interconnected or causal or sequential. I'm using a whole bunch of master's degree words, even though I don't got a master's degree. Winter Menace said, I'm so glad you're here, Winter Menace. Yes, we do, but as black men, we are over sexualized. Also, we can literally teach people how to make love to us, but we can't teach someone how to love. Sex is a physical act, love is beyond that. I would agree to it, except for those last two sentences. I think that when you are dating, sex becomes much more than a physical act, but we leave it as a physical act, and that's why we try to pursue it separate than our emotions. That's what I believe. I believe that sex is an emotional act, but because we try to pursue it before it's necessary, before it's time, we end up leaving it as just sexual or just physical. But if we allowed ourselves the emotional availability to see sex as an emotional connection, an intimate connection between two people, then perhaps we would have a different relationship with sex. Winter minutes, does that make sense? Am I hitting on something or am I talking crazy? J926 said, yes, gay men can be over sexualized at times, but I think it's more of a man thing than a gay thing. Straight men are over sexualized by women all the time. Straight men over sexualize women all the time. I'm not straight, so I'm not gonna, but I mean, I have a podcast, so I'm gonna say it. I think women over sexualize men too. I hear, again, I don't tinge over to the straight part of social media, but I do hear men talking about pussy just as often as I talk about women. Hear women talking about big dicks. Like I don't, but I hear a lot more gay commentary just because I am a gay man who ingests gay content. So I think that there is. I mean, I ain't did no study, but I think there is some overlap that we are sexualized on a whole bunch of fronts. Benjamin Johnson says, I think as gay men, we are over sexualized. Agreed. No, no, let me double tap there. What would be an appropriate amount of sexualization? That's a good question. Like I think we've turned over sexualized into a buzzword. But what would be the appropriate amount of sexualization? I'm always curious. What does that look like when to be attracted to someone and not on a sexual level initially? Like, for instance, and I'm only saying this because Rolando DD is right there where he says the world does over sexualize black men. I think Rolando DD and Mr. Witty are very attractive. Now, I have some level of relationship with both of them, but the only parts of my body that can react are initially the first time Rolando DD slid in the DMs, it was, him with them aviator glasses and that big ass afro. And I was like, oh, he's cute. I think you had a different profile pic a couple times, but I was like, oh, he's cute. And then Mr. Witty, the first time he slid in the DMs, I saw a good clear skin and long hair. And the hand under the chin gave little light butch queen. Like my body reacted to those two people. And then, if for instance we were in person or in a different circumstance, I might approach them. I might ask a question or ask their name, just like I did with Kivante. But what would be the appropriate level of sexualization in that interaction? How do you get to I'm attracted to you, lest it's you made my dick harder, you made my dick jump a little bit. Like, how do you do that? What does that look like? Because I think we talk about being over sexualized, but if we don't have any options or any roadmap on how to express attraction or even how to have attraction, lest it come through sex, then I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Winter Minutes tapped in. He said, when you mix emotions into sex, it becomes something beyond that. Someone who has no emotional connection to you won't be invested in you beyond that moment. Agreed. Agreed. But my question for all of us is, how do black gay men express attraction? No. How do black gay men build attraction if not sexually first? If I saw you, like when I saw Kevontae in church, he made my dick jump. That is the reason why I asked him his name. I wanted him. My initial attraction to him was because he had a big back and wore cute suits and had good shoes and kept clean fingernails and had good hair and a big toothy smile. Like, all of those things were what attracted me to that man, and the resulting action was my body reacted. So if we over sexualize black men, where does attraction come from lest it is sexual initially? Somebody answer that one for me. Hold on. Mr. Witty said, I'm literally dying right now. Because you giving little like Butch Queen here with the ring and the thing. Now, granted enough, on the screen, like the picture is like this big. But I see you smiling with your eyes with a clear forehead and looks like you got like a 5 o'clock shadow beard, which I think is so sexy, and some hair with the rings on your fingers. I'm here for it. Bill says over sexualized is such an overused term. It doesn't even mean anything anymore. I low key agree. I think we are sexualized to the degree we sexualize ourselves. But what does over sexualized mean? And how do I build attraction lest it come by way of sex? Not sex interaction, sexual desire. Like, what does me look what how do I get attracted to you if you don't make my body react? I don't think I've ever been attracted to somebody who doesn't make my body react. I don't think I have had guests on this sofa that have made my body react, and that is how I know I'm attracted to them. So I think if the starting act, if the inciting action is a sexual something, then that is how we build attraction in our culture. And I don't know that there's a problem with that. Winter Minute says we connect our attraction to sexual attraction when it could simply be y'all energy. Are y'all attracted to one another? That doesn't mean we need to fuck. I'm not saying we need to fuck. Like I said with Kevontae, there was a sexual attraction and we didn't fuck for months. I still had he still made my body react. He still made my dick jump. He still, had me out here with my nostrils open. But all of that was based on the fact that I wanted to fuck him. I didn't for a long periodically time. Too long, if you ask me. Rolando says it's sex. Mr. Witty says you have to create experiences that are non-sexual but intimate. But again, I agree with you. I agree with you, Mr. Witty. I agree with you, Winter Menace. I agree with everything y'all saying. But that doesn't negate the fact that the thing that got us into this is the fact that you made my dick jump. The fact that I wanted to fuck you. The fact that you made my body react. The thing that gets us into all these things is I am sexually drawn to you. And I think, and what I'm hearing from a lot of us is that is the foundation of this over-sexualized term that we use in our culture. And what I'm trying to figure out is, well, how do I be attracted to you if not via sex? How do I establish that if not via sex? Uh, uh Panthro says I agree with Jay. Attraction gives me a stiffy. Now, Panthro, you and me, we probably the horniest motherfuckers on here in the first place. So I don't know that you and me co-signing on each other's perspective is disputing the whole over-sexualized ideology. We the ones who bring the sex in every room we in. So there's that. Omar says, I think it has to do with the person's preference. What do you mean by that, Omar? P.S. That's a great picture. Rolando says, nah. Bill says men, gay or straight, are more motivated by sex than women. That's an objective fact. I don't really care about a woman's motivation because I'm gay as hell, but I do agree that men are motivated by sex because regardless of who I'm trying to give that sex to, I'm still a man. Black men are hypersexualized to a very dangerous degree. But what does that mean? No, let me rephrase the question. What does that mean when we're talking about black men connecting with black men? I get I get that this white supremacist society we live in does over sexualize us. But that is because, but and the foundation of me saying that is because white people, society in general, that is founded by, that affirms whiteness and white men's perspective much more than anybody's, tends to see us as sexual beings first, if not only. I fully agree with that. Our white supremacist society sees us as sexual beings first, if not only. But what I also acknowledge is in a room full of black men, like we are here, there are 100 black men, presumably, watching this show. I see the nuance in each of you as a black man. And then on top of that, I actively choose to affirm what you do to me physically if I am attracted to you. Is that a problem? Is that an issue? White people see us as dicks and asses and shoulders and big chests and thick thighs. And fun fact, ironically, as much as I go to the gym, for some reason, a black man can grow every part of his body except some calves. Why is that? Black men will have the biggest thighs, the fattest ass, the smallest waist, the broadest shoulders, 8-pack, the trapezius whatevers, and all the things. But for some reason, we can't grow no calves. I don't get that. But back to what I was saying. We will be, uh, culture, society will see us as just a body, right? Do we believe that black men also see each other in gay culture as just a body? Is that what we're saying? Because that's not what I'm saying. Like, I talked about Mr. Witty and Rolando. It is not I only see you as a piece of meat. It is I see you as a full person, and and you could also be a piece of meat. I think that's the difference. Is it only a piece of meat or is it and a piece of meat? Or cake, depending on what you're giving or receiving. Michael McGee said calves are my favorite part of a body sometimes. Even though for some reason black men, we can grow everything. We can be very toned in our calves, but for some reason we can't get no big calves. But you know who can? And this is gonna be problematic. I hope y'all don't cancel me. But an Asian man can grow every part of a leg. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about East Asian, but like Taiwan, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, China, Japan, all those places, Singapore, all those places, East Asian countries yield some of the most thigh meat I have ever seen in my life. Again, I hope that doesn't get me canceled. Just like I know Kenyans, if you go to Kenya, we all got this forehead, among other things. But we all got this forehead right here. You go to Kenya, looks just like that, 5 head. Winter Minute says, I'm speaking from personal experience, and that's fine. We have a zoom out at some point and look at community as a whole. I don't know that we can look at community as a whole. I think we shove a lot of thing into gay community, and it's a whole bunch of pieces that don't go together. I think we have culture, because culture is how community expresses itself. I think we do have gay culture. I don't know that we have gay community where we have like a shared set of values, a shared set of moral standards, a shared set of anything. I think all of us have so many different sets of values that contribute to culture. But that is, I'm being semantical now. Benjamin Johnson says, "No, I don't think we as black men see each other in that way, but we understand and recognize the world sees and treats us as a sexual object." Okay. Okay. So if I double tap there, and this is where I really want y'all to tap in. I hope y'all are listening. There are still about 100 people watching. I want y'all to let me know if what Benjamin Johnson is saying, no, I don't think we as black men see each other in that way, but we understand and recognize the world sees and treats us as like a sexual object. Is the way to combat that on a platform like Dear Black Gay Men to run in the opposite direction of our sexuality? Or is it to double tap on our sexuality and allow that to be part of the tapestry of our experience? Because what rings through and what you're saying, Benjamin, is what Winter Menace said earlier in the chat is like the through line of this platform is sexuality, sexual expression. We have talked about top, bottom. I don't know if we talked about bottom recently, but we just talked about tops and verse. We've talked about bottom a long time ago. Uh, we have talked about I have talked about kinks and scenes and all the things many, many times. And I'm curious, do we believe that the way to does the perception of us among our kinsmen, among people that look and walk and talk like us, is it that we are only sexual beings? And if so, do we combat that by being asexual? Sexually agnostic here on the platform, or do we double tap on it and just allow sex to be the thing, to be a thing? When a minute, Mr. Witty said, "I have a slight calf fetish." My word, fair, fair. Rolando said, "My primary partner is Filipino, and his calves are calving." I'm telling you, I follow this one dude again, and this is me leaning into the sex. I follow this one dude on Instagram. His name is Les Balabat. Balabat. But he is Filipino, and that is his content. He talks about being a 5'6.5" Filipino, and he owns a skincare brand. And I follow him because he has such good teeth. He has a beautiful smile. I and something about and he has like a good haircut. like his fade be fading and his teeth be teething, and I enjoy hearing him have like the most elementary humor. It's I don't know why, but I follow him. But needless to say, Benjamin Johnson says we as black people are not monolithic. I agree. Mr. Woody says I think we do also treat each other as sexual objects. So what is the answer to that? If we treat each other as sexual objects, it either is we need to accept that that's part of our culture and we're going to let it sit there, or we need to do something to combat it. So what do we do with that, Mr. Witty? Let me know what you think in the chat. Panthro says we as black men need to embrace it. I think that we are very, very sexual people. But I also think that is partly because we are really sexy people. I think black men are the most beautiful men on the planet. And I would wager that probably every other kind of man would love to be sexualized to the degree that we are because they would love to be sexy to the degree that we are. But here we are, some of the most beautiful men on the planet, saying that we are over sexualized. So I'm just like, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like a fine ass man being upset that people be like, damn, you fine. You kind of are, bro. You really are. Now, granted enough, the finance man probably be like, I'm not just a face or a body or whatever, but you are a face and a body. Story. Okay, so people don't know this, but I don't tremendously follow OBO Jones. I think OBO Jones is an amazing creator. I just don't follow him because the podcast he had before, I will say, and I hope I don't get canceled for this, but it felt like he was trying to explain gay between gay people to not gay people. Like he would talk to people that I appreciate and respect, but he would ask like the elementary school questions. Like I remember he had one interview with like G Smalls, and because he had a big platform, because he was all the things, he but he wouldn't like ask the deeper question that gay men would tap into. That might be a part of the equation, but that was my only issue with him. But OBO was appearing on a different podcast, on Surface Level Podcast, and he said it feels kind of minimizing when people attribute his success as a creator to the fact that he is attractive and masculine presenting and all these things. And I was like, he does like skincare deals and clothing deals and all these kind of brand deals. And then he says stuff like it feels minimizing that I am, you know, seen as this attractive man. Nigga, you are attractive man. You are a full-blown attractive man. And now he is in a full-blown relationship with another very attractive man. Like that is a part that is baked into the deal. Like people are buying into you because you are masculine presenting, got a deep voice, got all these tattoos, good skin, good hair, good all these things, engaged to this fine ass man, and you create content. Like that is the brand. It's like I can't get around the fact that I'm a chocolate man that's short with a high pitched voice and thick. Like that's part and parcel of the deal. And I don't think we do anybody any favors by running away from what is. And to that end, I'm like, that's kind of the issue with black gay men is we are some of the sexiest men on the planet. But then we be like, but we're over sexualized. That's part of the deal among us, isn't it? Isn't it? Am I the drama? Like, let me know if I am the drama. I will be the drama here. But it feels like we are sexy being upset that we sexy. Pretty upset that we pretty. dope, upset that we dope. And that is one of the reasons why I'm like, we to a degree in homogenous black queer spaces, we just got to acknowledge that we the pick of the litter. And when you take us out of black queer spaces, while we do have pretty privilege, we got a whole bunch of privileges we do not enjoy, but we got the prettiest privilege because black people are the best. And I think ironically, that is one of the reasons why we are over sexualized in my head is because culture really does know that we're the best, and that's why they try to throw so many stones at us. That is why we get the short end of so many sticks because we are the best, and they know it deep down in the societal DNA of this country. They know we are the best. We're the strongest, we're the smartest, we're the prettiest, we're the best of everything, and that is why they try to take so many other privileges away from us because you can't take my black away. You can try to be my black. Everybody's trying to be darker and have and Coke bottle figures and all this other bullshit. Everybody's trying to be us, but not give us the prop. See, now I'm getting people want to be more than their looks, Jay. We are human. If that's all people want, then they'll never see us for who we are. Okay, I agree. I agree, real shit with Darren T. I agree. People want to be more than their look. Matter of fact, y'all come on the show because I got questions. Real shit with Darren T. Hit that link. Let me see if it's in the comments. Hold on. Hold on. Hold your horses because I want to see I want to have this conversation. He said I'm at the grocery store. Heard. Heard. But I want to have this conversation. If for instance, if for instance, we want to be more than our looks, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that no person should be limited to just their physical expression. I agree. But that still does not negate the fact that we fine as hell. A part of that is that baked into the brand, into the expression of black folks, is that we are fine as hell. Black don't crack, right? Or am I the drama? I can be the drama. I will be the drama. But the only reason I'm asking this is because of this notion of being over sexualized in our culture. Benjamin Johnson says, I agree. Pretty privilege is a very, very real thing. Yep. Mr. Whitty says, you can't build a home on pretty. I agree. Look, Dear Black Gay Man commented. That was me. The show gotta be longer. I'm gonna be here for a minute. Not no, I ain't gonna be. We ain't gonna be talking all day because I ain't got enough talk in me. Yeah, but I think balance is still important. Only focusing on physical attributes and not other attributes could come off as a little dehumanizing. But see, not the problem. The only piece of what I disagree with J926 is the only. I don't think that black people seeing black people focus only on our looks, only on the fact that we are pretty, only on the fact, but I do think that is part of the deal. And I'm only talking about homogenous black spaces. If we are all baddies, all 97 of us, if we are all baddies, then at some point somebody got to be in the room and be like, "Hey, we all baddies." We don't get cool points for running away from the fact that Real Shit with Darren T and Winter Menace and Rolando and J926 and Carlos and Panthro and all of the people in the chat are baddies. I think that at some point we got to acknowledge that. And the gotcha about it though is I think people are able, and again, this is just personal experience. People see me as more than just my body, more than just all these things, because I don't mind saying I think I got a nice body. And the second that I can acknowledge that for myself and others is the second to be like, yeah, okay, now are you smart? Thank God, because that would be a waste. The fun Ironically, this is how it was a long walk to get here from dating, but for people who just joined it, it's because we started the conversation with a cocktail. What do y'all think is in this cup? Like, what do y'all know what I drink? What do y'all think I drink? Just to lighten the mood a little bit. What do y'all think my drink of choice is? I think I've said it a couple times, but what do y'all think my drink of choice is? Winterman says, yes, we all baddies, but why does that have to turn into an orgy? And then Rolando DD said, cause it's fun. And I will co-sign on that. Cause it is fun. Is that a real question, Winter Menace? Because I do have an answer. Is that a real question or was that rhetorical? Jay, you're sexy, but your intellect is also an attractive attribute. The fact that you can hold conversations is a sexual turn on. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that is legitimately the point I'm making. We started this conversation by talking about how black men are over-sexualized in our culture, right? Black men are over-sexualized. And I receive what you saying, Benjamin Johnson. I receive it, and depending on what you look like, I will reciprocate. Because all I see is a B, and Bs aren't attractive to me. Because I'm not a letter sexual. That was supposed to be a joke. Haha. But the gotcha about that is, if for instance I am my intellect is sexually turning you on, is that a way to over sexualize me? Are you over sexualizing me with this statement? Just for fun fact, I do not feel over sexualized by anything anybody says here. So this is really a safe space. I want to know, is this a way to over sexualize someone? Meanwhile, what Holla at Your Boy said I seem like a dark liquor kind of dude. Blue Vid 588 said Reposado tequila. Rolando said dark liquor. Rolando said Henny and apple juice. People drink that? This is whiskey and ginger. I will not tell you what kind of whiskey because they're not giving me any money, but it's whiskey and ginger. Hold on. Rolando said that's a weird take. Jeremyology. Okay. Jeremyology said if you take away our pretty and how sexy we are and how great we can fucking suck, A lot of black gay males aren't anything substantial outside their sexuality and sex life. Excuse me. It's kind of sad. Okay, I have some issues with that perspective. I got a couple issues. And again, I want this to be a safe space for discourse. So I do not want to come across as combative. So if you got a response, I encourage a dissenting opinion. Again, I don't mind being the drama. But I believe that sexy and black are synonymous. Because sexy is big. Many things can be sexy. Black intellect, black power, black liberation, black hair, black skin, black people, black men, black women, black children, not children, black, all those things are sexy. I think black children are beautiful and they grow up to be black, sexy adults. That is, I hope y'all hear my spirit when I say that. I believe that black and beautiful, beautiful is a better word. Those things are synonyms. And so, to that end, I don't think you can take beauty out of blackness and have something left. If you take beauty out of blackness, you got white people. And so, I think that I personally believe that our culture would be better served if we just acknowledge the co-equal relationship that our blackness has with our sexuality. Not gay, straight, or otherwise, but with the fact that we are sexy. Winter Minute says, yes, Jay, we get it. Being sexy doesn't mean we need to be fucking. We have to chill. I'm not gonna make a bad joke there. I agree. Let me say first, I agree, and I'm gonna leave it there because I have been going off the deep end this episode. Sip Sauce says, I disagree with that perspective too. Black people are the most talented, understanding, and empathetic people I've encountered, and that makes them sexy to me. Okay. I think you're disagreeing with Jeremyology and agreeing with some of the other discourses happen. Okay. I think that blackness and sexy are co-equal, are synonymous, are they walk in lockstep. And I truly believe if you take the sexy out of black, you get white. You that's like taking just like if you take, you know, if you take the kink out of my hair, you get, flat and blonde, even though my hair is red on top. Panthro is just it's just the anti-intellectualism in the community that leaves us who want a guy who digs your mind out first, lacking enough choice. Okay, they're having a conversation. I ain't tapped in enough with that. Panther says black is think and long. Up. Jeremyology says, I'm speaking to the over-sexualization of us. Outside of how good we look and how good we can fuck, what else are we good for? A lot of things, yes, but it doesn't give that. It gives we're just good to fuck on, is what the next part says. I think, okay. Again, not trying to be combative, but I do think your perspective centers white gaze a little more than I appreciate. Because if we analyze what you're saying, it says I'm speaking on the over sexualization outside of how good we look and how good we can fuck. What else are we good for? A lot of things, yes, but it doesn't give that. It gives that we're just good to fuck on. If two black men are fucking each other, I would wager that seeing your blackness is default. So the only instance where someone would see us and think and only be able to see our sexuality, only be able to see our sexual expression is if, for instance, they are not black. And I don't do anything for the gaze of white people. Okay, Mr. Jeremiology says, no, I'm speaking for and to only us. Okay. So help me understand for Jeremiology and anybody who thinks this way or who sees it this way. If you think a black man, assuming that we are all black, if we are only, what would it look like for a black man to see more than your sexuality if they don't already? Like, how do you do that? Because in my head, if I am sitting across from, I'm gonna just again, I'm using Rolando because you were the last message to come in. But if me and Rolando or Mr. Witty, because I can use both of them example earlier, ironically. But if me and Rolando are sitting across the table from each other, Rolando black, I'm black. We might not be the same kind of black. One of us might be multiracial. I am African and American. That is my black. But if we are sitting across the table from each other, the default in my experience is he sees that I'm black. And he has a level of context around what that could possibly mean. He may not know my specific experience, but he knows the plight of black people. I know the plight of black people. And so regardless of what we talk about at that table, whether we talking about the size of our dicks or how big our calves are or what we studied in college, the default, the foundational component of me talking to Rolando is I know what it's like to be black. Is that not the case? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Or me and Jeremiology, because that's the comment we were talking about. Like, if I'm talking to Jeremiology, whether we are setting up a hookup, whether we are talking about, the weather, whether we are pontificating about the purpose of life, at the foundation of any interaction between him and me is the fact that I know what it's like to be a black man in this country, just like you. That is the basis of our conversation, is it not? Mr. Whitty said, it's like some of us are using white fetish terminology in how we express desire for each other, and it doesn't sit well with me. Okay. Like in the chat or in culture? Let me know that, Mr. Whitty. Rolando says, neither of us are multiracial. We're both black and we both live African American. Perfect. Got it. This is why me and Rolando get along. Rolando and Panthro are 20. Got it. Germiology says, having other interests in me besides how I fuck. Am I educated? Am I spiritual religious? What hobbies do we have? What do I like to do creative? What other interests do we have in each other besides our sex? But isn't that everything though? I hear what you're saying, but here my perspective. If, for instance, you and I are face to face right now, you are on the other side of this white table, Germiology. Regardless of what we are talking about, regardless of what got us there, regardless of how I courted you or how you courted me, at the foundation of such an exchange, wouldn't it be the fact that both of us know what it's like to be a black man in this country. Cause like, for instance, vulnerable moment. I fucked somebody today. Had a hookup earlier today. Beautiful black man. I went over there and he asked me to dig him out until he pissed himself. Bear with me because I'm going somewhere. I did that. Went over there, did the things. But regardless, yes, it was a hookup and entanglement from the apps. But however it expressed itself, when I walked in that man's house, I was looking at him as a black man, knowing what it's like to be a black man. And I acknowledge, and in my spirit. Now, granted enough, the extent of our exchange was sex, but I the foundation of that exchange was we both black. The limit of it was an entanglement, but we both black, we both men, and I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. I know the bullshit you had to wade through to get here. On a very general term. Hold on. It's a whole bunch of them. Holla at your boy said, I mean, definitely compliment a man on his skin, Mr. Hold on. Rolando D said, I've always been fully invested in black men. I love everything about us. I know we're multifaceted. I think that's the foundation. But what I'm hearing from you, Germiology and Winter Menace, perhaps, and I'm trying to really understand this perspective. What I'm hearing from you is you're saying that black men interact with each other only about sex. And what I'm saying is black men interact with each other and we have sex. I think that's the distinction. When I'm interacting with a black man on any level, regardless of if it's a hookup, a date, we building a friendship, we frolicking in the park, we are whatever. Every exchange that I have with a black man, I am assuming that we are at least interacting with each other in good faith, understanding what we had, the bullshit, the white supremacy, the microaggressions, all of the bullshit we waded through to get here. And all I would offer is, could it possibly be that some of us who believe ourselves to be over-sexualized have a little soul searching we have to do internally so that we then can see the fullness of a black man, even in the most sexual of experiences? Is that even possible? Do you, Germiology, and I hope I'm not, well, I'm kind of singling you out, but because that is the comment that incited this part of the conversation, is it even possible for you? Do you have space to even consider that? That maybe there are people in our culture, maybe there are black men in our culture that really do see you. I see every piece of you that is available to me. I see deeper into you than a salacious or a frivolous conversation might denote. But I see it, and I want you because I see you, as opposed to wanting you in spite of me seeing you. Germiology added, I see your distinction. I can't get past sex with most men here, and it's exhausting. I want to do more things than just fuck my brother's brains out. Who are you talking to? Because one thing I will say before we take our break, one thing I will say is this podcast, this live chat shows me at the very least what I see every day when I sit in this chair is that Black men we can have a sex conversation with someone who's asexual. We can have a cultural conversation with people who we differ with. We can talk about politics with people who are not political. We can talk about relationships with people who are irrevocably single. There are people in this chat of every walk and talk in life. And what I've learned is we can weave in and out of sex, we can weave in and out of dating, in and out of a whole bunch of things if we allow ourselves to do so. And so when you say things, Germiology, or anybody, when anybody says stuff like all we see is sex, I'm like, there are at least 100 men on this chat right now, 100 men watching right now that have proven time and time again that that's not the case. There are at least 100 of us on this platform, on Dear Black Gay Men, who have proven time and time again that is not the case. So if, for instance, a podcast on YouTube can get 100 men together to have a conversation that is far reaching and sees you as much more than a sexual object, then perhaps the issue is not culture. Perhaps the issue is just the people you're talking to. You're not going to have the most exhaustive, eye-opening conversation if the best we got is, jacked in the club. And that sounded a lot shadier than I wanted it to. I don't want to be shady. But I do want to say that if nothing else, hopefully just this group of people that's in this chat now are proving that I can see you as a fully sexual being, and then the next sentence see you as a very intellectual being, and the next sentence see you as a spiritual being, and the next sentence see you as a fat ass and a big dick. Like, all of those things exist at the same time when I talk to you. For instance, Panthro, we know, everybody in here knows Panthro got a big fucking dick and he a bottom. We know that. That is part of the conversation. But Panthro also is smart as fuck. And Panthro is, loves a rainbow print jockstrap from his Instagram. And Panthro got a whole bunch of shit going on for him. He's just very candid with his sexuality. And I think sometimes, while I agree that sometimes our culture does hypersexualize individuals in it, I will also offer that sometimes we stifle people in sexuality. We leave you there. Sometimes all we see is sexuality. Like, somebody could see me at a circuit party and be like, oh, all I know him for, all he good for is circuit party shit. Somebody could see me in a jockstrap and be like, all he good for is jockstrap shit. But if the issue in front of us is over-sexualization, then it is equal parts, yes, we need to have broader conversations, but also you need to open your fucking eyes. Because all of us are the same kind of black. We all got the same melanin. We all got the same DNA. We all got the same things. And sometimes the over-sexualization of our culture is not, I only see you as some dick. It's, you only allow yourself to see me as some dick. And both of those got to be working in tandem if we're going to overcome this thing. That's my 2 cents. All right. Y'all notice the show's a little longer. After the break, we're gonna talk. Hopefully, if we got people, I'll go back through the chat and we'll have some comments. But we'll be right back.
Do you know your HIV status? When you do, you can take control of your sexual health. HIV self-tests give you the power to decide when and where to test. You just swab and stick it in the tube. Test in the privacy of your own space. You can set a timer, sit back, and wait. In as little as 20 minutes, you'll know your results. No matter your test results, you have a community waiting to support you.
I love being able to test where I want.
I love that it's confidential and quick.
You gotta love free.
It makes me feel empowered.
When I show myself love, I show my community love.
It's important to know my status.
It's important to know your status.
It's cool to know, you know?
If we all get tested, we can stop HIV together. Learn more about HIV testing, including free HIV self-tests, at cdc.gov/HIV self-testing.
Hey teammates, welcome back to Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. I want to go through some of these comments. Remember, you can join me live to add your 2 cents. I know I said a lot this show, but you can join me live to add your 2 cents. Livestream.dearblackgaymen.com. The link is pinned in the comments. Winterman says, "Yeah, you drunk, Jay. LML, call us back." No, I'm not. It takes way more than one drink to get me tipsy. Winterman says the chat is always sexual, Jay. Again, that kind of underscores what I'm saying is sometimes, yes, things are sexual. I get that. And I do not deny that. But also, sometimes that is all we allow ourselves to see. If we have done, give you an example, and this is for all the over-sexualized, all team over-sexualized in the comments. We have done shows where we have talked about, I've talked to politicians on the show, people running for office. And we had conversations about their political platform. I've done talks about Black Trump supporters. I will have a conversation with someone a Black gay man who voted for Donald Trump 3 times on this show. We've talked about HIV and PrEP and PEP and a whole bunch of things. I've talked to married couples about what it's like to be married and how they got in their relationship. We've talked about a lot of topics here. So yes, I can fully acknowledge that the chat leans sexual most of the time. But also, for those who think that the chat is always sexual, perhaps you're only cluing in to what you're cluing into. We have dealt with a wide array of subject matter on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. But if all you see is the sex part, then that's all you're going to see. And all I'm offering is that people that say we're over-sexualized here on this platform or in our culture, it's both and. Yes, I can acknowledge that we skew to the sexual degree, but you also but that means that you, as a supporter, as someone who is contributing to the conversation, gotta tap in and clue into the moments that's not sexual. It can't just be you over there making a critique. You also have to, if you are in position to critique something, you are in position to correct something. That's just the way life is. So I can fully acknowledge Dear Black Gay Men does get sexual. But don't discount the work that we put into ensuring that we can talk about other things here too. I just had a whole conversation with Dedrick Tillerson, who wrote "I'm Nobody's Maybe." I don't remember having a talk. I don't remember talking about sex one time in that conversation. So I think it's a both and when we're dealing with this topic of being over-sexualized in our culture. It has to be, yes, culture can make some corrections to acknowledge and affirm all aspects of men, but also the people who are saying we're over-sexualized got to be able to open your eyes and see the fullness of a man. or men or culture. And I think that sometimes, and this is just me, sometimes I feel as if people who say we're over sexualizing our culture expect us to be asexual, expects us to be sexually absent, and I ain't that. I told y'all I just fucked somebody earlier today. It was amazing. It was amazing. But I don't get any cool points for denying the fact that I am a sexual being. I am a very sexual being. And so I think that when culture is trying to answer the question of if we are over sexualized, yes, sex is a big part of Black gay men's life. Because I bet you, of the 100 people watching this show, 100 people that's in this room, I guarantee you, most of us have had sex at least once in the last 7 days. That's 100 sexual sessions in the last 7 days. And y'all think we not gonna talk about sex at all? It's Wednesday night. I will bet money that most of us probably gonna have sex by the time we got a show tomorrow. By the time we come back on Monday, most of us will probably have had sex then. Sex is just a part of our culture. I don't think it has to be the only part, but we don't get cool points for denying that it's a part of our culture. Winter Minute says I'm missing the point. Help me understand, because I really do want the fruit of this conversation for me is I want Dear Black Gay Men to be as inviting to as many people as it can be. I do not want any person to feel as if they are not welcome and affirmed on this platform. Rolando DD said I'm getting head as we speak. Baron, hey Baron. Holla at your boy said Monday night. Winter Minutes, I really do want to know the point. If you ever are so inclined, you should come on and we have a conversation about it. I think that would be a great conversation. Again, the link is pinned in the comments. Germiology and Winter Minute has been on the same page. Germiology says, I got some dick earlier today. Wait a minute. It wasn't you that I gave some dick to, was it? Because that would be weird. I want to just double tap for a second. Winter Minute says, I don't think you're trying to understand. You're deflecting. I never said I don't feel welcome. You have my continued support. The reason why I want to double tap on that is one thing I will say that I feel in our culture is that a lot of gay things have this kind of tacit approval, this passive support of things. Like, I've been to a lot of non-black gay clubs that passively support black people because, they let me through the door. Or I have been a party to cis people who passively support trans folk because they tipped some drag queen at the bar, or and I don't want to be that. And so when it comes to this platform, I want everybody to feel intentionally supported, intentionally affirmed, intentionally invited into the conversation. And so if on this topic or any, for everybody listening, if there feels a time that I ain't getting it or I'm being exclusionary for one reason or another, call me on my shit. And that's not just fluff. That's not just talk. I really want to know better so I can do better. So I want to make sure I'm stating that. So if ever you feel as if I'm, needlessly difficult on a topic, hear me out. Like, call me in. So And now I will say, for you winter men specifically, asexuality is something I just because I'm so sexual, I genuinely do not understand. So when it comes to broadening horizons from your perspective specifically, not to call you out, but to invite you in, I got some growth I need to do. So there's that. But teammates, it is 10:30. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Remember, the podcast is new every night, except last night, Monday through Thursday. I want to know if you could tag me in the comments on Instagram and let me know, do you prefer 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern? I know we've got people watching from all across the globe, so I want to make sure that we can have a show that is inviting to everybody. We'll be right back here with another episode of Dear Black Gay Men podcast tomorrow night at 9 p.m. where I'm talking to Jay Penn about season 2 of his web series Loving Us. For more exclusive content, join me on Substack at dearblackgaymen.substack.com. The link is in the description. I appreciate y'all more than I can ever express. I will see you next time. Bye.